What if I told you that the world's youngest country was born through decades of blood, struggle, and resilience? That in the heart of Africa lies a nation rich in oil and culture, yet burdened by conflict and poverty? Would you believe that behind war headlines, South Sudan holds ancient traditions, powerful tribes, and untold beauty waiting to be understood? Welcome to Somsphere, the home of hidden truths, deep history, and powerful stories from around the world. Don't forget to subscribe and support this channel, because today we dive deep into a land you think you know, but truly don't. This is the story of South Sudan. South Sudan was once part of Sudan, Africa's largest country. For decades, the southern population, mostly Christian and animist, felt marginalized by the northern Arab Muslim government. Two brutal civil wars, 1955 to 1972 and 1983 to 2005, claimed over 2 million lives. After a historic referendum in 2011, the people of the South voted overwhelmingly for independence. On July 9, 2011, the world welcomed South Sudan, the 54th African nation and the 193rd UN member. But independence was just the beginning. Just 2 years later, in 2013, a political power struggle between President Salva Kiir and his former vice president, Riek Machar, sparked another civil war, this time among the South Sudanese themselves. The conflict displaced millions, destroyed infrastructure, and devastated the young nation's economy. Even today, the scars remain. The economy of South Sudan. South Sudan's economy is one of the most fragile in the world, but also one of the most resource-rich. Over 98% of its national revenue comes from oil exports, mostly sent through pipelines via Sudan. But what happens when oil prices fall? Lack of industrial development, dependence on imports, inflation, and corruption have kept the country from reaching its potential. The official currency of South Sudan is the South Sudanese pound, or SSP. It was introduced in 2011, shortly after the country gained independence. The banking system is regulated by the Bank of South Sudan, which acts as the central bank. However, due to conflict and economic instability, many people rely on informal money exchange systems and cash-based transactions. The country also faces challenges like inflation, shortage of foreign currency, and limited access to modern banking services, especially in rural areas. Major resources and what South Sudan produces. Despite its struggles, South Sudan is rich in oil, gold, timber, gum arabic, livestock, and sorghum, or grain. Agriculture employs over 80% of the population, yet most farming remains subsistence-based. What is South Sudan famous for? South Sudan is known for being the newest country in the world, its resilient spirit and long fight for freedom, the diversity of its ethnic groups, the majesty White Nile River, and sadly, for its conflicts and humanitarian crises. Current president. The current president of South Sudan is Salva Kiir Mayardit. He became president on July 9, 2011, when South Sudan officially gained independence from Sudan. Salva Kiir has been in power since then and is the country's first and only president so far. He is also the chairman of the ruling party, the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, which led the fight for independence. The political system and leadership. South Sudan is officially a presidential republic. The president is both head of state and government. The ruling party is the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, the same movement that led the struggle for independence. Despite peace agreements, tribalism and political mistrust still divide the nation. Religion in South Sudan. South Sudan is predominantly Christian, mainly Catholic and Anglican, followed by traditional African religions. A small minority of Muslims, mostly in border areas. Religion was one of the major reasons the South separated from the North. Ethnic groups of South Sudan. South Sudan is home to over 60 different ethnic groups, including Dinka, Nuer, Shilluk, Azande, Badi, Lutuko. Each group has its own language, customs, and cultural identity. But did you know that ethnic tensions have fueled most of the civil wars? Ancient versus modern history. Historically, South Sudan was part of ancient Nubia. Tribes have lived in this region for thousands of years, practicing cattle herding, farming, and fishing along the Nile. Colonial borders under Anglo-Egyptian rule ignored tribal territories, sowing the seeds of future conflict. Today, the nation is still redefining itself in the post-colonial, post-conflict era. Culture and strengths of the people. The people of South Sudan are known for cattle culture, especially among the Dinka and Nuer, rich oral traditions, poems, songs, and storytelling, wrestling, a national sport among many tribes, music and dance, expressing pain, pride, and joy. Despite war and poverty, their resilience, hospitality, and spiritual strength shine through. Current challenges. South Sudan faces ongoing tribal conflicts, food insecurity and famine, refugee crises, over 2 million have fled the country, lack of education and healthcare, corruption and poor governance. But amidst the darkness, there are flickers of hope, youth movements, peace initiatives, and cultural revival. Now you know South Sudan beyond the headlines, a land of struggle but also survival, of pain but also pride, a place not just of war but of warriors, in culture, in history, in soul. If you learned something new, or if you believe in stories that humanize forgotten nations, hit that subscribe button and join the Somsphere family. Because here, we tell the stories that matter. Like, comment, and share, and let the world hear the voice of South Sudan.